You know what's funny, dude, is I was looking for the button to remove myself from the stage, and then I looked up at the screen and I realized that button doesn't exist right now because I'm not on stage.
My
What's up, dude?
goodness, man, that might have been one of my favorite ones so far. That was a jokes one, dude. Normally, we're terrible at hitting that thing on time, getting ourselves off on time, but today was one of those ones where we actually just fell right into conversation as if we were already on a live with our guest tonight. It's one of those seamless ones. And then, of course, we almost just started the chat without you guys. Fuck the chat tonight. We were just rolling solo with the guest. How you doing, B?
I'm doing good, man. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing good, man. Do you want to give a little shout out to the dudes in the chat there? Well,
Yes. 8-bit Mike, Brilliant Demon. Micah, what's up? Slightly Adrift. God, that collection is super sick. Zimico, Hobo Toys. We got a Hobo Toys piece tonight. Ordinary Toys, Big Ed, what's happening? FKD. Pikmin's Vinyls. Man, those Muppet sculpts are nuts. Bootleg Toy Co. Eric Folkert's Pedals. Not sure who that is, but made it on time. Welcome. Bliss Receptor, Jazz Wiz, Super Terrible Toys, Neck Wrath, Jason St. Paul, Headcase Toys. What is up, everybody? And Crumbs, what is up with you? You're on mute. Oh, look at that. You got it. I didn't. You know what? That's no point deduction there.
Right. It's out of the way early.
That's right.
Thanks, man. But yeah, no, Eric Folkert's Pedals. I am with you. New one in the house here, man. You have to pop over to their IG later, take a little peek. Now I'm curious if it's going to be guitar pedals.
Oh, there you go.
What's new in your world, man? I always find it so fucking jokes when you show up, and I know the freaking background, man.
Yeah, look at it. It looks good though, right? The dark rainbow.
It's killer. I can't believe we're at that point with technology that like it. You know,
I know, right?
It, but it is.
I told you, dude. I have another one that I used, but it's funny because you can see my reflection in the plexiglass behind me, and I put it up there, and I'm just like, well, that's fucking weird. So I had to do the old swapperoo there.
Love it.
But yeah, man, just busy, dude. It's been busy this week. Haven't posted a lot, personally. Besides the stuff for the show, man, and those even came out all skewed this week, man. I think I was off a week to begin with, and then I'm like, it hit me while I was driving, and I'm like, wait a minute, if tomorrow is this date, and I'm like, and I'm trying to think back to the calendar, and then I'm like, shit, man, like I am way off. So, yeah, true, Crumbs.
Oh my goodness. Scrooge's face. If anything, just a whole bunch of tiny little me's. Just in the case, different pose. Can you imagine if I was actually that freaking self-absorbed? I was like, B, where's your Crumbs case?
Oh, it's in the making.
It's in the making. Yeah, right after the Crumbs mag comes out.
We got a good show tonight, man. We got Acid9Toys. We have a lot of stuff to look at as far as pieces go. I have some, you have some. It should be a good one, man. We got a killer giveaway. If people were looking at Acid9's account before we started here, there are a few of these Onis on there, which are actually super cool.
I'm just about to pull up their page, actually. Yeah. Oh, there you go. There's the trick.
Yeah, there it is. I remember that from last time now, too. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Super sick, man. All hand painted. Very nice. So that'll be the giveaway for tonight. And actually, Acid9, when they sent that over, there was multiple things in that box. So this will not be the first, or this will be the first, but not the last giveaway for Acid9 for sure.
It's not even the first one either, because I've said it like a bajillion times. They sent me a box, I think it was last year, that I've got like 2 of the giveaways from the show, and the rest, like I think L9 ended up getting one. Fake name, I ended up making sure went home with one.
Nice.
But they've been kind of going out in that regard, or in that way, to make sure that they still find a good home of somebody that's going to hopefully like it and enjoy it.
For sure.
For this evening as well, man. That
Yes.
fucking Oni.
Mm.
5.5 scale as well. I'm glad you ended up popping that in there because, of course, their and we're gonna get into it, I'm sure, tonight. But their category of figures ends up going from tiny to 3 inches, as well as the 5.5.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit all over, but it's all. I mean, gosh, dude, we can talk about those. The Skullmaster, I'm sure we'll get into that, dude, which is just a freaking, just a phenomenal piece, dude. As far as the looks at, I remember when we first saw that thing, we talked about that thing multiple times, but yeah, so that'll be cool. What's up with you, man? What is going on in your world?
Not a whole lot, but I will admit. So the other day, I'm watching 90 Day, right? And I'm seeing this one dude. His legs were just so chicken leggy. And so maybe that's where like my head was thinking of it, because then I was already thinking to myself, like, hot damn, dude, you got to get those legs to the gym. And I'm looking at this Oni here today, and I couldn't help but be like, holy fuck, those rugby fucking thighs, man.
Yeah.
And then where I'm intrigued is I don't know if there's like an olive, like black wash or an olive wash that's been done on that. Like, I'm intrigued to find out how that was done. And then if I'm not like, this is a one of or 101, because it's actually going to be in like the Blanca version. But I'm curious to find out a little bit more about like the sculpting on this, man. Because of course, a lot of their OG sculpts.
You know what, dude? And here's the thing that's crazy is I don't think it's a wash just by looking at it. Because I have it in hand, of course. It looks like it's like fine line green paint on top of the lime green. And just to bring out those details, dude, which is like, you know, that's even crazier. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just throwing it on there, you're like actually going in all those lines. And I mean, all the way up to, it's the same thing on
brows.
Yeah, on the chest and the torso area, same thing.
This head area here.
Even on the face, dude. Damn.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get all into all of that. Otherwise,
yes,
not a whole heck of a lot, man.
Plugging along, eh?
Plugging along. I felt so bad, dude. I had to go in for a dental cleaning the other day, and like it's been a minute. I won't lie, it's been a minute. I felt so bad for that lady. You know, she's saying sorry. I'm saying sorry. I even told DNS, I was like, it's probably like Saving Private Ryan in there. I just felt so bad for this woman. She like, it obviously probably wasn't that bad, but it was just one of those things, you know. She's definitely kind of like, am I hurting you? Are you okay? And you're like, no, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's just a little bad in this one spot. You're like, I'm sorry, you know.
Dude, did you say like, it's like Saving Private Ryan in there?
Oh, 110%, dude. Absolutely. Open the mouth.
That is so funny, dude. Recycle Galaxy, what is up, man?
What about you, though? What's new and exciting in your world, man? You mentioned you've got some pieces there. You've also got some pieces in there. Hand.
Yeah, dude. The pieces that I got, you know, for whatever reason, it's funny when, you know, you make a couple purchases, even at different times, they end up all coming in at the same week. So that's what I got. Actually, dude, there's going to be some this week and then probably another heavy dose next week. But yeah, dude, there's a little bit of a theme, man. There's some 3.75s in there, but the rest of the pieces that I have tonight to show are like big centerpiece pieces, which is very cool. So
should I have had like a meme handy that's like, I won't tell anybody my tax return came in, but there will be signs. Is that basically what the
I wish.
I'm bald, man. I'm bald. I'm sorry.
No, I know, but I wish that were the case, dude.
Don't we all every day?
I have not done my taxes yet because I know I'm going to have to pay again.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, you know, with my state return, it ends up being almost a wash. So fuck it, whatever, dude. I always think
you don't have to get into your financial details with us.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. I wish that were the case where I was getting a huge. You know what, dude? I need someone who knows how to work taxes, like, you know, to my benefit. That would be great. I don't know anybody like that. But.
Allow me to just disappear and roll away. Ooh, what the heck's in that mason jar? You're getting trendy.
Well, it's a company called The Fizz, Fizz. That's what I'll tell you. Look that up. That's what this is. Yeah, it's tasty.
We won't get into too much detail with it then.
Yeah. Abaddon 40, what's up? Doc Horror, what's up? Yeah, dude. Anyways, long story short, what's that?
Look at Pikmin's catching that the follow throughers, man. I always find that so. Is cute the right word? It's so cute. Look over at the chat and you see that the homies are saying hi as they're popping in.
That's cute, huh? All right. Speaking of Pikmin, dude, I said that I mentioned his Muppet sculpts, but I don't know. There was a picture of he had done a post where it was 3 glow ones, and I mean, dude, the sculpting on those they're just great. Even the originals when they first came out, I was like, damn, dude, those are really good. But that's Pikmin for you, right?
Sorry, it took me a second. I wasn't expecting it, so yeah. I didn't have it at the ready. But it seems like they've even actually color coded the glows to kind of like flow. I don't know, man, 6 figures.
Yeah.
What I've always liked with any of this kind of stuff, and again with original sculpts, and we're gonna get into it again when we pull Acid 9 in here in a second, but these things exist now. Like, and I get that that's kind of it. It sounds so stupid every time I say it because it's kind of like, well, yes, of course it exists. Crumbs, like, see, even Pikmin's looking at me being like, yes, of course it exists, man. It's on my page, it exists, but it's beyond that. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like when we find a toy out in the toy world, and it's no different than, like, for instance, when you find your first tree trunk monster and you're like, holy crap, this is a rubber Swamp Thing eraser. Like, this is undoubtedly Swamp Thing. Like, what the heck is this? It's kind of like that. You know what I mean? I do strongly, firmly believe that, like, there's enough of these pieces out there at this point. Like, there are people who aren't necessarily well versed in this scene that look at these pieces and they're like, this is a so-and-so or a such and such, a Batman or a, and then they hop onto the internet to kind of be like, where the fuck did this come from? Or they're looking at something, doing the whole Google lens, trying to figure out what the fuck is this thing.
Yeah.
It brings them back to one of the records we have of a piece somewhere on the internet, and these exist now, you know? They exist.
Exactly, dude. And we'll get into this a little bit later, man. I think I told you that I had a really, really good phone conversation with Healy earlier today, dude. And he vaguely touched on indie toys and how it's coming back around and the part that it plays, not only in the toy scene currently, but with nostalgia and what it was good, dude. It was very positive. It was, especially for somebody who works a lot with artists and stuff like that. It's good to see his outlook on the scene in general. It's really, really cool. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but
100%. I would say that's pretty darn cute too.
It was cute. That was very cute.
we had a cute counter tonight.
You know what, dude? I was gonna drop a little nugget about Pikmin's vinyls, dude, and I'm only gonna say it once. And I'm not gonna repeat it, and I'm not gonna elaborate at all. I saw something the other day that involves Pikmin. That's amazing. That's it. Pikmin doesn't know what I'm talking about because he doesn't know about it. But I saw something from someone and was like, that's fucking awesome. So the scene awaits is what I should say about that one.
Does he have an OnlyFans? Has somebody made a secret OnlyFans?
That's exactly what it is.
Figured.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to pull these lovely individuals in tonight?
Let's do it, man. I am ready. Right. We are right on the ball. 6:15, 6:14, early even. How about that?
Every now and then we can do it. You guys good?
Yeah.
We're going to slide them in.
Here we go.
We bombarded you. We've ambushed you. How are you guys?
Acid9Toys, how are you?
Sound again.
There you go.
There we go.
How you guys doing?
We are doing great.
Doing great. Excellent. We, of course, chatted to you a little bit before we ended up hopping on here, but for those at home, you want to take a moment and introduce yourselves?
We are Acid9Toys. We are also formerly Quest Miniatures, but once we quit doing that, we decided to be Acid9Toys because making toys is an asinine idea. It's pretty hard to do.
Dude, okay. Did you catch that, Crumbs? Acid9.
So admit, I won't lie. When I was hearing it in the Toys on Tap, I had that same moment of the V8 slap. Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. Making toys is crazy. You
gotta be comfortable with failure.
Yeah, that is very true. And now, do you say you had a different account name before Acid9?
Well, when we were doing just miniatures, we were doing Quest miniatures, and that was, pewter spun
Gotcha.
miniatures for like tabletop wargaming and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the page. Yeah.
Now, were you making those?
Yeah. So these are all original sculpts and stuff.
Wow. Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
That's the Dungeons and Dragons arcade game.
Wow, those are great. So, man, let's start there then with the 3D sculpting. Those ones right there are, let's see, that was 187 weeks ago. So that's a little bit over 3 years ago. You're obviously very, very skilled at that. When did the 3D printing or sculpting start for you?
So when we first decided I wanted to start making miniatures, I wanted to start producing stuff, it was 2016.
Okay.
And I figured out went over the steps about how to do the spin casting for metal miniatures.
Sure.
And then I contacted an artist to do a sculpt of Etsy of a Jason Voorhees character. And that was the first one we did. And after that, I found another artist that did Spawn. We made a Spawn miniature. That was pretty cool. And then the big break was when I hired that same artist that did Spawn to do the He-Man miniatures. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I hired an artist to make the sculpts for the He-Man miniatures. They were traditionally sculpted in epoxy putty.
Okay.
And then we turned them into pewter miniatures. Yeah. So those are the original sculpts.
Oh, man.
In the green.
Great.
And then we made them into metal. And once that was going, it was going well. And we decided to go to PowerCon, which is the He-Man convention in California in 2017.
Okay.
And that was the first convention we went to. It was pretty crazy. We went down there and it did pretty well. So when we came back, we did another set. And then we, kept doing. But the problem was that I was having a hard time with the artists because timetables, artists move at their own speed.
Yeah, very true.
And I wanted to move a little bit quicker. And I tried some other artists with negative results.
Yeah.
And then I was showing my wife, Sylvia, Mrs. Acid, some 3D sculpting videos on YouTube. And she's like, oh, I could do that.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, so the next day I bought her all the stuff to do that.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And then her with no art background or anything, just her natural talent. She figured out how to do it. She did some YouTube tutorials, a little online course, and she was away. She finished making a lot of the He-Man miniatures and the Galaxy Warrior miniatures and all that other stuff we were doing.
So the Motu miniatures, did you say you were making those in pewter as well?
Yes, those were made in pewter. Yeah. Machine I made a spin casting machine and cast them in pewter.
Gotcha. And now, are you still making those, or is that something?
No. So what happened with that was that I was selling miniatures and stuff until COVID happened, and then because I'm in Canada, the post office slowed down with the border crossing, and I couldn't get anything out. Things were taking, months to get to people. And then people would complain that they didn't get their stuff, but it was just and so I was just eating costs and losing sales and stuff. And I decided just to close down the Etsy store altogether because with the way the shipping was, it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And through that, we developed more about 3D printing. We got better at 3D sculpting. The technology, I started at, I think the Photon, Anycubics Photon was one of the first 3D printers I got. and we're on our 8th one now.
Oh wow.
We're all the way up to the Photon Mono M5 Pro.
Now, are you upgrading every time? I'm sorry, Crumbs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's a graveyard here. I've got a Anycubic Mono X, Ultra, X6K, and then the one we're currently using.
Yeah, I'm sure that means a heck of a lot to people who know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As long as I know that's an upgrade, that's super cool, man. I think it's cool that you're kind of reinvesting and upgrading every single time. But dude, holy smokes, those sculpts on the Motu stuff is insane. The fact that you're making those, or we're making those in pewter. I'm a huge Motu fan. I love that print behind you. That thing's freaking beautiful, by the way.
This is a custom commission work by my friend Eckhart, who is the current artist for the packaging for the current Motu Origins.
No kidding.
So this is a one-of-a-kind, only I get it picture.
That's crazy, man, because I've bought some of those pieces of the Origins pieces strictly for the art. You know what I mean? And some of them I'll even display backwards because I think the art's better than the figure itself.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool, man.
On that Quest Miniatures, there's 2 pieces of art that are the cards we sold as the packaging, and each of those middle posters, they go together and create one big poster. That's also done by him way back when he was still in art school.
Oh, wow. Holy smokes. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Crumbs, you were going to say something a minute ago.
Well, I was going to assume that at this point here, like, how many of those printers would you say are actually like have been resin printers versus?
I can't hear Crumbs again.
Oh, fair.
There. Yeah.
It's going.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Like, have they all been resin printers that you guys have been swapping through, or were you starting out with filament originally?
I did try filament, but most of the stuff has been resin. Filament for me is a no-go. It's just the layer lines, and it's just such a hard product to finish. It's great if you're maybe doing like something really big, but I was early into the resin, so we go with the resin. It's and that was a real trick for me, is that 3D UV cure resin does not like silicone.
I was going to ask, actually, I know that in your interview with Toys on Tap, you mentioned like there was an inhibitor issue when you were trying to use the silicone. So it's almost like you have to use the UMU for your molds. But then, of course, as everybody knows, like the UMU longevity isn't quite there. So have you found a workaround with that at all?
Yes, the clear coat from Vinyl Wonder Paint has been the cure to that problem.
That's lovely to hear. Absolutely. Do you both enjoy the printing process, or do you prefer mainly just doing the sculpting process?
I mainly do the sculpting process. The 3D printing, it's like watching paint dry for me.
Fair. How about the actual painting portion? Do you enjoy that at all? Or again, you're just wanting to do the sculpting?
I actually would do some of the painting, but Dan and I's creativity we kind of butt heads sometimes when it comes to deciding what color should be and color theory. And that's really what he loves to do. So I let him do that.
Now, out of curiosity, outside of this, have you now started doing anything of your own, making your own different creations that aren't part of the Acid9 line now that you've been playing with the sculpting programs more?
When it comes to the sculpting, no, but that's mainly because my main job, like I am a nail tech, I'm an esthetician. So I'm always working with colors and sparkles and shaping things. So I already do that every day. So but I'm a crafter. I love I'm doing a cross stitch right now that's quite large. I'm always working like knitting something or crocheting. So I'm always busy with some creative aspect.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sneak away here.
I don't have any artistic skill aside from the painting. My it's stick fingers and silly putty sculpts that have to be interpreted loosely into something beautiful.
You mentioned that a couple times actually on the Toys that Tap one. I thought that was absolutely fantastic though. But when you mentioned that you'll often conceive ideas and you'll kind of run it by them or explain it to them, disappear, come back, and they've basically just banged out exactly what you want. That's got to be an absolutely lovely feeling.
Well, that's the best thing about having your wife being the sculptor, because no other artist would put up with my nonsense. You know, like she'll be at the computer sculpting. I'll literally be hovering over her shoulder, peering over, like, can you adjust that just a little bit? Just tweak that a little bit. And then 5 minutes later, it's like, no, that was too much. Can we go back a little bit? Probably to the point of nauseum that only her love can contain.
Well, you know, the good thing is though, is based on her reaction, you know when to stop, you know when enough is enough. You know by her reaction, like, okay, yeah, no, you're right. That's great. That looks perfect to me.
That's definitely a good cue. I'll go and I'll have a nap on the couch and
yeah,
let that air out until
yeah, just step away.
Dan's very passionate, so he will describe something almost till death. Like, he's so specific, and he does little drawings, and he will go over again and again and again just to make sure that he got it all out, and then he'll repeat himself just in case.
That's funny. Now, when you first got into sculpting, you said it was a brand new thing for you.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that? Was it something that you wanted to do to help him out, or just to kind of be involved with it more? Or was it you were more looking to add a skill, or maybe a combination of all of that?
A little bit of everything. So there was a particular video that Dan would watch on repeat. So now you have to understand that Dan has ADD. So sometimes he becomes a little bit attached to his subject.
Okay.
And he kept going on and on about having difficulty with sculptors and trying to get his point across. And I got to the point that I was like, that's it. Don't worry. I got it. I need you to stop talking about this. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy challenges. Like, I enjoy learning new things. And like I said, I like being creative. I've all through high school, I took art classes. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go into art school, but that wasn't really what my parents thought I should do. And I ended up in aesthetics instead. And so it's something that one more challenge, one more way to be creative and to just kind of do something it was an interest. But like I said, Dan had a lot of videos that he would cycle through, and he wanted me to watch them and pointed out what it was. And I'm a fairly receptive person. Like, I can watch things and mimic them.
Yeah.
And so it was just, it was a learning curve, of course, but
yeah. So that's a good point on the, as far as the learning curve goes, as far as continuing to do this, what avenues are you using to improve how you sculpt? Is it all just practice for you, or is it still watching videos, or maybe both?
It's a lot of practice. I don't watch as many videos as I used to, more so when I come across something that is difficult or I've forgotten to do because it's been a while since I've done it. Then I'll do a refresh. I'll look up videos that I've seen before or just what's been up to date. The program that I use is called ZBrush. And so I do try to keep up when they do updates on what they do things. Because it's not something I went to school for, quote unquote. Yeah. There's aspects of it that I don't really get, but I'm a little bit of a daring person. I'm like, well, I'll press a button. Worst thing that can happen, I have to shut the computer off and turn it back on.
Yeah. And great point too, because I think we even talked about that last week, was some of the benefits to doing 3D sculpting as opposed to doing traditional sculpting. One of them, exactly what you just said, pressing a button and then just being able to erase that right away was one of the big benefits. The other one was time. basically taking an iPad or something and being able to move around freely or sit wherever you want, as opposed to being stuck in your studio working with wax or working with clay or whatever it might be.
And scale.
Absolutely, man. Scale too, for sure. That's something that I don't think we even mentioned, but that's a great point on scale too, is the scale can be whatever you want it to be. Oh my God, dude.
So this is the little 2-inch. This was a design I wanted to do. Basically, I was trying to mimic the Battle Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has the C hand, and it's just the arm articulation on a solid sculpt with the flat feet, and no other articulation. And then, but with the small stuff, I was having a hard time with the molding, and then that's when I came up with the 3.75 Skullmaster, and I just because I was just doing a test, that's the same simple articulation. If I was going to go back and redo it, I'd want to add the waist and the head movement too. But I mean, I love that you get one sculpt and then you can just scale things up.
Oh man.
And you get the best of all the toy worlds, which is what I love. I love having all the different sizes.
Yeah.
And it's really great.
My question on that one is, when is that one going to be for sale, dude?
Well, I already did a small run of this. It was on my store end for sale. I mean, there's one more of these still. I never left the store. It's still up there. I didn't feel I was getting a lot of traction on it, but since the post of this video about me coming on, I saw a lot of comments, people talking that they really liked it, especially the glow in the dark and the Skeletor one.
Yeah.
And this was my first attempt of doing the Fufubi. This is a hollow cast, and it's actually held together with
oh wow,
with a bungee cord, kind of like there's an O-ring bungee cord system like the G.I. Joe inside there.
Right.
And so I could hollow cast it. So, because it's 8 inches tall, less material.
Holy shit.
But again, if I was going to do this, I'd probably want to redo it in like a soft vinyl.
The faux Fubi is a great name for that though. I think that's the first time I've heard somebody call it faux Fubi.
I think that's probably credit to Craftsman on that one.
Yeah, that thing in vinyl, dude, I think would be amazing. That bungee cord system on the inside, where did you come up with that? Is that something that you made, or is that something that you saw? I've never seen that before.
Well, it was trying to figure out how to hold it together while it was hollow cast.
Right.
And so I came up, and I was thinking about a G.I. Joe. I was like, oh, it's the O-ring. And I just,
Right.
So it's just a V shape. There's a guide in there that turns it into basically a V connection that holds the arms and the torso together so that it has articulation and twist at the waist.
Yeah.
And then after that, this has all been a process, doing the figuring out different kinds of joints. I went from, the first stuff we tried doing the magnet joints. I know people do beautiful magnet work. I hate it.
Yeah.
So much. The patience and setup you need to figure that out, it just wasn't for me. So then I started some straight pin stuff where it was just a long pin, and I drilled out the torso to give the tension. And it worked, but it wasn't a nice finished product.
Yeah.
And then I came up with the idea, we call them pop pins, which are basically like big Glyos pins, right? And that's like when we did the Rad Punk.
Yeah.
And that's simply it's a pin with a raised up bump on it, just like a Glyos pin, but just bigger for bigger figures. But the trick is that you cast the torso in a slightly softer resin. And I first use 43D from Smooth On, and that gives you the nice pop
Gotcha. Oh wow. Okay.
Smart, man.
And then
realize I did that.
the torso is soft enough that it just snaps, it just plugs back together, but adds enough tension for the nice posability. You know,
Yeah.
and then the backpack even has the same plug, and the head plugs on, snaps back on.
Smart.
But the arms and the legs are cast in regular 327, so it's harder than the torso. So the torso is all female plugs, and everything else is a male plug.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then the hard resin snaps into the soft resin. And once we figured that out, I was like, ooh, that's a nice way to do it. And so that's the same articulation that you'll find in the Onis.
Those are so good.
And then we also have that same thing in the wrist to give that side wrist articulation.
I see that.
Damn. Nice
And
touch.
so the hand is cast in a softer resin, and the torso's cast in a softer resin. So the softer resin lets you pop the weapons in and out of the hands without rubbing. Like it's flexible enough the fingers flex. And then I just did the wild hair and made this beaded necklace with the bungee, necklace kit. And then the head is hard, and the arms and the legs are hard. And I like the solid piece legs because I like it when everything stands nice and firm on the table.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And that's one of the big problems, right? Like I did a post earlier this week with a bunch of 5.5s from Chris Bryan Customs, and they're great. And the one thing that I really like about them is that, most of them are recasted 5.5 Motu kind of mashup deals that he does. But the great thing about them is that they all stand. You know what I mean? And anybody who's collected, the old vintage Motu style, like, man, those are hard to get to stand sometimes, especially if you're dealing with all original stuff. But as far as display goes, especially on a 5.5, man, like that makes so much sense to make it just solid. So you don't have any of that problem. But dude, Crumbs, I don't know about you, man, but casting in two different hardnesses of resin, that's something I don't think I've heard someone, if they're doing it, they haven't said anything about it.
Plastic Geek is one of the few I can think of that does it, and I haven't seen them really talk about it in ages, man. And
every time somebody comes in and out with the camera, I lose their audio.
Oh. Sorry, guys. But he's the one I can think of. Otherwise, is it back there?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. I wonder if it's just a mono and stereo thing. But otherwise, no. Even creating their own Glio style peg on that is actually really fucking smart, man. I think that's genius. And you guys are already onto it too, knowing like why bother with the legs. Do you find it like difficult to paint with being the two different materials?
No, you just got to use the right primer on each one, right? So like the softer torso, I primed it in the Vinyl Wonder primer, and then on the regular, I could just use any kind of regular paint primer. And as for the paint job, it's to get that shadow to come out, it's painted the darker color, and then I paint on top, I dry brush on top of it, and then just leave a little bit of color in the recesses. So it's not washed in, it's just directly painted on that way.
Clean dry brushing then, man. 110%. Like fucking gorgeous work.
Yeah, with a smaller dry brush. And
I like how you also decided while we were off there, you pulled out the red one suddenly. You're like, well, might as well grab the red one now. Seen the blue one.
Yeah, there's like the.
Oh God, man. So as far as the different scales go, and I think you probably already answered this, man, but you obviously made the Skullman in the in the mini style first. And then is there a preferred scale that you like to work in? Like, obviously, you've done a lot of work in the mini ones, but you're increasing it. And like you said, with the 3D sculpting, it's very easy to do that. Is there anyone now that you're making stuff besides the mini that you're kind of, leaning towards?
Well, I'm going to be leaning towards a larger scale for the Safubi because I've acquired all the equipment to make the molds for Safubi. I'm going to be attempting to pull my own vinyl this summer,
Oh,
and
man.
and craftsman.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So my uncle's actually a welder, so he's going to help me weld up the frames for the thing, and then I'm going to do the electrolysis plating, and I've got the right wax already and stuff, and so we're going to 3D print it, polish it up, make a silicone mold, get the wax copy covered in the conductive material, put in the electrolysis bath, make the mold, get it soldered to a plate, get it in the frame, get the right plastisol. I have a couple plastisols, but Craftsman definitely dialed in the right one. And then going to be a deep fryer and a whole bath system set up, and we'll be popping vinyl hopefully this summer.
Dude,
And
you have hilarious connections. I'm sorry, because you've now converted the cotton candy machine into a spinner, and now you're just gonna be making your own fucking steel molds for the vinyl.
I got the connections. I got plastic injection machines. I got everything the Craftsman did. I've gone nose to the grindstone on. I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. He's the Bob Ross of making stuff.
Man, so not only are the scales all over the place, but now we've done pewter, resin, onto vinyl.
Yeah.
I would say, I guess, as Acid9Toys as a whole, do you see that brand being all of those things? Maybe not the pewter, of course, but the resin and the vinyl as it being one thing? Or do you think that you'll, like, after you do vinyl, is there a goal to stop doing resin?
It's all the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
the idea is eventually we're going to accumulate everything, right? Like I'm going to be making, like I want to do spun cast metal weapons and accessories that are added to the Safubi vinyl toys. We're going to be adding cloth goods, 3D printed parts, resin cast stuff, trying to make the best, coolest stuff, use all the tools that we've got. I think the only thing I don't have is a decent sized vacuum form machine. I've got a little one, but it's not big enough to make packaging.
And the vinyl, and you're doing all this from home too, man. That is wild that you're doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when we were doing when I was trying to get into plastic injection, my friend's actually a machinist, he was going to help me make molds and stuff like that. But then we found out, of course, trial and error. Then you find out, oh, well, to cut a simple mold for plastic, it was 500 man hours.
Oh, wow.
When you're getting into, because it's not just setting up the tool for the plastic injection machine. It's also the EDM machine, which is it's machining the copper negative to put into the EDM machine to erode the steel to make the mold for the plastic injector. And you're like, oh, that's a lot of time. And I'm like, one 5.5 figure has got to be 6 molds. And plastic injection is great, but it's very hard to do on the small scale.
Yeah,
and expensive.
I was gonna say, not to mention the cost. I mean, you're talking about 500 man hours, whether you're doing it yourself or you're paying somebody to do that. That's a lot of money. I think either way, plastic injection molding. Yeah, wow, that's nuts. But the fact that you're going to be making Crumbs, did you hear that? He knows a machinist. He knows a welder. He's like, you definitely have the connections to do your own stuff there.
Yeah.
Sylvia, do you plan on getting involved in the vinyl process at all?
I will help. I'm always here to help Dan when he needs it. I'm usually the one that keeps the checklists and the safety, and make sure that he's not just running into it without having given it more than a thought, one thought out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm the one that kind of keeps him in line of what's happening, because he can get a little bit off sidetrack. And
my biggest problem is I love everything. I can get behind anything. Doesn't you give me a topic, I can get behind it full speed, and there's a lot of stuff to do. But try to dial in, and it's been a process trying to figure out the sizes and what sizes, and I want to do all the sizes. If I found a market for all the sizes, I do all the sizes for everything.
Yeah.
But it's even doing one thing, you gotta get enough sales to do the next thing, and that's the biggest hiccup right now. Yeah, but definitely we're going to keep pushing forward. I think that it's been the last little while where her timing and sculpting has gotten buku overtime good.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty jazzed about it. In fact, one of the next things we're going to do is we're going to offer some commission availability. So if people want to get something sculpted 3D to get ready to make their own stuff, we can help them with that.
Wow.
We're already trying to do that. I love finding cool art on the internet.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah. Now, would that be a figure that you're making?
Well, this was just some cool art on the internet, and I'm like, my lovely wife, would you please turn this into a toy? And then she turns it into a toy.
Oh my God, dude. Man, what a great combo. Like Sylvia said, the way that your mind works is just kind of all over the place. And self-admittedly, you said that you get really involved something. When you're into it, you really go full speed at it. But I think it's a great, she offers a really good buffer zone and a really good direction of like, look, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's crazy right there, dude, that you can actually do that and say, hey, can you make this? And she just goes, yeah, I can do that. And then boom, you do it. I mean, what a great combo, man. Holy smokes. Well,
there's an awesome artist, Jason St. Paul.
Oh yeah. Great dude.
You've probably seen him. He did this piece.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to do that. That is so toyetic. I was drawn to that piece for a while, and then I was like, hey, can we do that? And then, of course we can.
Oh, man.
Wow. And he's got a little hat.
Oh, get out of here.
And then a little weapon.
But like that alone is a service that people.
And then, so the idea is, of course, we'll cast this in a colored, flexible resin, and then make the parts in hard resin for the color. And we'd like to do some of that, and then hopefully, when they get these the soft vinyl pulling going, will be a whole entity of one stop and go.
And in Canada too, which, let's be real, like I don't know of anybody in Canada doing that at the moment.
On our own stuff and other people's stuff.
Did you hear Crumbs right there? I don't think you could hear Crumbs right there.
No, I couldn't. Sorry.
I could tell by your reaction, like he did not hear Crumbs right there.
I did.
Crumbs, go again.
Oh, I was just saying, and in Canada as well. I don't know if anybody else in Canada is doing that, man.
Yeah, not that I know of. If they are, let me know. I like to pick your brain.
Right. But no, especially being in, like, I'm sure that we've talked about shipping costs. We often have talked about like dealing with Safubi companies overseas, the wait line, the time. You guys being in Canada offering that service, it does kind of probably help a lot of artists in that region that are looking to do something like that.
Well, that was my thought. There's a whole tariff problem, the whole thing that's happening now. And, and already from when I've talked to people about getting Safubi done, the turnover time is long. And having more people pulling vinyl, I think, would be a good idea.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, I agree, man. The more the better. And I think, nothing against anybody who gets anything manufactured out of where they live. But as far as cost and time goes, I think that's probably the most effective. And now that you're can offer something like that in Canada, I mean, gosh, dude, it seems like every week we're talking about multiple artists from Canada that are doing some really, really cool stuff. But yeah, dude, what a service. Extremely ambitious to go and, not only just start with figure making, but then take it into, I mean, dude, you're talking about like a multi-dimensional brand that can do pretty much anything A to Z, either making it or helping you make it. Is manufacturing for people, is that something that you would be interested in someday?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's that. I'm a maker. Like that. That's my thing. The whole that was the thing with the miniatures is I love making the stuff. Doing that process, making molds, cutting rubber, spin casting, trimming stuff, figuring out how to do that process. I did dabble with the electrolysis and started plating some stuff and had some pretty good results. Needs to be fine tuned a little bit. Needed to do a little bit more research, like knowing to do the first layer in nickel so that the copper part of the mold doesn't oxidize on the vinyl. Things like that, all the little. And when I was first doing it, it was hard to buy plastisol. You could only buy it for like fishing stuff. And when I saw the craftsman do it the first time, I figured out where he got it from. And it's okay, but it's more like a rubber ducky vinyl. It's not, but obviously just recently, Plastisol Tech or whatever, the one that he mentioned, they sell in smaller. I talked to them before. They only sold in big amounts. Like you needed $2,500 to buy like a case of it or
Oh, wow.
a pallet or whatever the jug is that they sold
Sure.
it in. They didn't sell it in small, but now they do. They sell it in like the 1 gallon or 4 gallon. They got a smaller, more accessible sizes that people like us could get into and try it out with.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even available to. It wasn't even available to buy in Canada because I think it's like a hazardous material. And even Vinyl Wonder paint, when that first came out, I had to have it shipped to a reshipper that then repackaged it and shipped it to me in Canada because he couldn't ship it right across the border because of the stuff in it.
Sure.
And I think now they've established themselves enough they ship directly to Canada and stuff. So, it's more readily available now than when I first looked into it. So I think I'm definitely gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
To be honest, too, that actually makes a lot of sense with the plastisol you were talking about, because we've actually mentioned before, a lot of the times the heavy tariffs or like the shipping costs when we are dealing with that material, it is because it's a hazardous waste material. A lot of people would be coming over from like Japan, like the true Safubi. A lot of times those tariff costs, it wasn't even actually like the weight of the product or like the quantity of the product. It was often actually the fact of what it was made out of. And here in Canada, our regulations basically considered it a hazardous waste material, and eventually it'll end up in our landfills, and therefore it enters into a whole other cost issue, I think. But
yeah.
Hot damn, man, as if you guys have freaking got that dialed in. If you don't mind, while B's actually disappeared there, because I know we've been kind of poking at a bunch of different stuff, I'm going to share your store here as kind of like a way to kind of, one, show off some of the stuff you guys still have kind of kicking off in there, but also to kind of poke your brain a little bit about some of the things. Because I know we've talked about the Skullmasters quite a bit, and for anybody that was interested in like the red-black one, we still have one here. But like, for instance, like this Paladin here, I don't think we ended up talking about this guy at all, and I'm a little curious, like, what's kind of driving this guy?
Yeah, those are. It's the first of a series of dungeon heroes that we're doing based off some old skull character art. I have like a little painted one here of the paladin that I started, and it's just it's just in resin. It's just a one piece, 3-inch figure. I thought it looked really cool. And I was like, well, if people were into that, there's we would do more of them. Like there's a wizard and an elven archer, and there's some other barbarian and characters like that. It's I want to do more, but I want there to be the interest to do it, because you gotta be able to sell stuff to make the next thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so with every new sale or whatever, we'll be opening up and adding more stuff to the store. And like I saw, I was watching today and yesterday, a lot of people commented on they feel like they missed out on a Skeletor style Skullmaster or glow in the dark version. And now that I know that, I'll definitely do some more up and get him up in the store.
Right. And I get that, though. Like, I would imagine the amount of man hours that go into painting something like this, not to mention like the actual material cost for it. If you don't know if there's interest in it, it's hard to do a whole run of them.
Right. Yeah. Like I have a whole bucket of those dungeon heroes, but haven't been able to sell one yet, so I haven't been pushing them too much.
Fair.
And once if people buy them, I'll make them. But I'll move on to the next thing. Like people seem to like the Oni, so I'll probably throw a few more. I'll throw those up in the store. I've got a small run of them, and some people like that Corn Warrior I did, and I have some ready to go that I need to finish painting and get those up in the store, and I'm glad to hear that some people were interested in it. So that's a big push.
Well, of course.
It's so hard to know what people want. I want to give people what they want so bad. That's my main goal. I just want to, if I knew what you want, you'd get it.
What is kind of funny, though, is that you are doing a combination of the two. Like something like this here, I'd imagine that you also like My Pet Monster.
Oh,
So it's a combo of the two worlds, right? Because then at the same time, this was obviously something somebody ended up snagging up.
that's a My Blue Monster.
My apologies.
And one of the very first ones I did down at the bottom, the Green Galaxian, is one of my favorites. And you know what? Just nobody likes them.
Was this one of like the first sculpts you guys ended up coming up with?
It was a pretty early sculpt. Not the first, but it was pretty early on when I was wanting to do like the articulated toy.
Right. What was probably one of the first sculpts you guys ended up doing?
One of the first art toys we did is probably the Strongman. Of course, he's in black. It's hard to see.
That's beauty.
But this was early on. One of the first. And Crumbs, you've probably seen the other one. It was the Red Horn Monster.
Yep.
That was one of the really early ones, and there's been a lot.
I've made a lot of stuff. I think it was around 2019 or maybe even 2020 that I challenged myself to make 100 characters in the year, which was a lot of work. I think I got fairly close. I think I managed to make about
96.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's almost 2 a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so and sometimes Dan will show me pictures of somebody that will post something they've painted, and I forgot that I've made it. And I'll say to him, like, oh, that looks really neat. It looks familiar. And he says, well, you made it. I'm like, oh, I did. Or we'll be packaging something or cleaning up, and sometimes I don't forgotten that I've made something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a lot of work for 1 year. Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's been all practice to dial in, to figure out the sizing, the joints, the tooling, trying to figure out the the mold and stuff, and doing all that. The Blue Monster is actually one of my favorites, and I really want to do him as a Safubi also, with a little bit more articulation, because I think he's great. And
that's a winner, man. I remember my pet monster when I was a kid, and then I got super excited when Super 7 started coming out with. They have a bunch of different variants of it now, but yeah, man, my pet monster, that's always a winner. Dude, so tell me about this one. I saw that one on your page, and I'm like, how do I get a wrestling rooster? What is that?
This is Cock Powell. He's MMA rooster.
Dad loves roosters. And at the time we were looking, I think we were just looking at some movies and things like that that had to do with wrestling, and Dan just had to have it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's ADD in full gear. It's like, yeah, we need that right now.
That one. So that one was in your. Let me ask you something about your store. I thought I saw something on there. Were you selling on District, or are you selling on District?
Yeah. I have posted some stuff on District. Yeah, like after I did the Toys on Tap, you talked to me about the District, so I put a little store up there. Yeah, and and again, like the whole thing is that I'm waiting to see some stuff move to know where to go. Trying to, like some of the first stuff I did, like I was. One of the things, like when I moved from miniatures to toys, I wanted to make miniature versions of all these art toys that I was seeing. Like I wanted to take it and resculpt it and miniaturize it. And that, when we did our the Phantom Star Killer, was one of the first ones I did of that. And a big catalyst for me to get into this was Toy Pizza with their Knights of the Slice.
Yeah, good one.
And so we did that, but he did not like that. So,
with the Knights of the Slice?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Well, I sent it like I was doing it like as a fan tribute. That I was like, seeing all these art toys, and so I did it up, and I really liked it, and I sent it to him. That's usually what I do. If I make something of yours, I send it to you to say, hey, I love your stuff here. So I did, and he did not like that idea at all. So I was kind of
Oh man. So speaking of that, as far as you said that you were seeing a lot of art toys out there, and some so much you were liking that you decided to duplicate them. Do you collect anything, or are there artists that you will collect, or what artists do you like following?
Oh yeah, like I got some from Pocket Salsa, like the soft vinyl and stuff like that, and I see, whenever I see something that really speaks to me, especially in the community, I love to grab it. I got just some local artists and stuff that I find, and I mean, for my collection, I'm collecting the He-Man Origins line, focusing on the cartoon collection aspect of it. It was my jam, because when that first Origins cartoon collection came out, I'm like, that's my He-Man. That's what I grew up with. That's what I always wanted my He-Man to look like.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going all in on that. I was in on the Masterverse when they first came out. I got that whole line, and I collect Marvel Legends, all the X-Men, Spider-Man, the last 7 years where they've been, it's been going on. So, I collect lots of different stuff. I grew up with He-Man, and I was 82, so I'm right in there with the He-Man and Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters, all the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. Everything that everybody loves. Sylvia, what do you think? Now, he named a lot of stuff right there, so the collection at your house must be probably out of control.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Don't forget about your Care Bears.
I do collect Care Bears, and I am an in-package collector, which in a way is kind of worse because it takes a lot more space.
A package collector?
I love, depending on the package, I do like holding onto it because I just think like all my Care Bears come in I keep them in the, I do take them out just so that I can clean them up. Sometimes there's like a loose thread or a little, something that doesn't look right. I'll
Yeah.
fix it up and it goes in the box on the shelf.
Wow.
You don't have
It's a
OG
wall.
carded ones, do you?
Sorry?
You don't have OG carded Care Bears, do you?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Okay.
No.
No, she collected the
Mhm. Friendship.
Friendship is Magic. The newest release of Care Bears is
I also collect Thundercats.
Oh.
Ooh, vintage?
No, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the vintage toys I grew up with. That was not something I was able to hold on to.
Gotcha.
So it's
Super 7.
but so I have the Super 7. It's more so collecting
Nice.
the ones that I had or I grew up with pretty much.
She's got the Thunder tank.
Yeah, I have the Thunder Tank.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Now, talking about big pieces, that thing is massive from what I've seen.
That was her answer to when I got Galactus.
Oh, wow. Another huge one. So let me ask you this, though. So if you are seeing something that you like, you collect, and let's say you end up missing a piece, are you ever tempted to just make another one? Like we were talking about Care Bears and stuff like that. And first thing I'm thinking is, well, why don't you just sculpt some and make some and make your own? You know what I mean?
We've thought about it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to be able to do that. Sometimes other makers kind of, get to it first. And sometimes when it's already made by somebody else, it's kind of like, well, I can just buy theirs.
That was the big thing when I was doing miniatures, like, because they started the He-Man miniatures pretty early on. And, before Mattel really even revamped the He-Man line, because it was like, I was at PowerCon in 2017, and that was the year before Mattel announced that they were going to revamp stuff. And then, of course, since then, other companies who get the official license have done, there is a He-Man miniature game out now where they've got, the sculpts are pretty good too. They're, and they did the whole line, of course. And it's just that trying to do other IPs is kind of, I'm trying to get away from that. It's like everybody's doing Star Wars, everybody's doing Ninja Turtles and stuff. But because we're sculpting everything ourselves, we can lean into doing a little bit unique stuff, even if it's influenced by all those other things,
Yeah, definitely, man. I think that's like probably the majority of the allure of the scene, right? Is that you can get stuff that's, maybe reminds you of something. And then that's where the nostalgia comes in. But new original characters, man, is always, that's like the thing, man. That Phantom Star Killer that you made was insanely good, dude. What is up with that one? Oh, that's great.
So this is an original character idea. We have a whole line of them. This is the Dynamites. This is Goliath. He was the first one that we did. And he's in, he's got the leg articulation like He-Man, and the whole tail and the torso and the forearm twist and the head twist. He's fully articulated with the blaster and stuff. But to me, it was trying to get this guy on card was a real struggle. Because they're a little bit misshapen and stuff, and then I have a couple characters with longer necks and stuff that are hard to do the packaging. So I was thinking, well, we're probably going to retool these and do them as a Safubi, because I printed one once that was a lot bigger, and it was like, it feels better bigger because it's a dinosaur. And so that's probably.
Now, when you say bigger, are you talking about like 5.5 style vinyl or 5.5 scale vinyl?
No, I'm probably thinking like 10-inch vinyl.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's way bigger than I thought.
Yeah. Like the Skullmaster was 8 inches. And I kind of want to hit that 10-inch. Also, because when you're trying to pull your own vinyl, a bigger hole is easier to pull than a smaller hole. And I know some people will make some pretty small vinyl,
Yeah.
but I've seen the videos, and from my experience, it's pretty tough to get out.
Yeah, you're yanking
And
out.
I mean, it depends on how my research goes on the making of the molds. If the molds come out nicer, I could definitely do some smaller stuff, but probably some of the first stuff is going to be bigger just because the pouring in the vinyl and the pulling them out, it needs a bigger fill spout.
That was going to be my next question, man. This is all stuff that you're going to be doing in-house.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have full control over what happens and what doesn't happen, for that matter, I guess. Wow, dude, that's going to be something, man. And you said the Dynamites, you already have a full line of those?
We've got 6 characters already done. Got the art, got logos, going to have a big poster. Yeah, there we go.
Wow. In 10 inches too. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, that one's sick right there. Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, that's the first 4. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely see that He-Man, that 5.5 style influence on there, which I love, man. That's what that's something that I grew up with too.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, those are some great looking figures. Sylvia, are those ones that you sculpted?
Yeah, they are actually.
Not just sculpted. She basically did the conceptualization of it. I was like, okay, we got our He-Man bodies. Okay, now it's a dinosaur. It's a Triceratops. Kind of make it look like a Ninja Turtle expression, but also like a dinosaur. And then He-Man body, and then make him space. And that was all. That's what I gave her.
Yeah.
Dude, all I can say is thank God for Sylvia, dude. Holy smokes, dude. Like,
No
you're sitting there,
doubt.
and I can just see her looking at you like, okay, tell me one more time what that was, and then you're just going on, and then boom, it's done. That's crazy, man.
At the time that I made them, I was able to be at home, and because Dan talks about it nonstop, I kind of had a really good idea, and every so often I just would call him at work and be like, hey, I'll send you a picture. Just tell me what you want me to change. So it was great because I was able to be at home without any interruptions and getting the flow of things and just get it done. Which that's why I was able to do so many back to back. Through Dynamites, though, there was a lot of joints and pegs and things that we tried. There are 7 versions.
There's at least 7 versions. There's where this is parted like a He-Man, where it has the clips that go together, and with the pegs, and then there's the pop joint version, and then there's a rounded ball joint version, and then there's the elastic bungee version, and then there's
tail, no tails.
The tail ons, tails off.
There's a lot.
There is so many versions that we don't even know which is the original one anymore. We're just going with the last one.
That's something that's on my list to do. I have to go through them, make sure that they are all cohesive, that they all have the right plugs, that they have everything is proper. It's on the list, but Dan keeps adding things in front of that. So we'll get to it. I'll get to it.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. She's just going with the flow, man. It's just like
definitely going with flow. And don't forget, 3D renders are huge on the hard drive. I've had to add 2 hard drives to our PC just to keep up with how much space that this stuff takes up. And it's pretty crazy. It's I mean, yeah, she's an absolute champ.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I agreed that I would look into 3D sculpting, and I was willing to take some online classes and figure it out. The next morning, I woke up at about 7:30 or 8. Dan staring at me, saying, "Oh, by the way, overnight I bought the program and a course, and I ordered a tablet, and I hope that it's what you want, so that when you're ready, you can go right ahead, and there's nothing no way for you to not be able to try.
Wow.
So Dan's very persuasive. He's a good salesman when it comes to something that he wants to get done.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, like it or not, it's going to be here in a few days. So
Yeah.
Be ready for that.
I have bought so much yarn, so many puzzles, so many. What are those diamond paintings?
Yes, diamond paintings.
You know.
Yeah, and that's kind of our deal. It's that one, I get to have the top of the line, so that it makes it easier. Because I don't like my computer crashing. I don't like to have. If I'm gonna do it, I want to do it. And because Dan likes to collect a lot of stuff, I also get to collect my version of the things I like.
Yeah.
Symbiotic supportiveness. I won't say no to you if you don't say no to me.
Yeah, right. Wow. That's God, what a great team, man. Jazz Wizard said, I will comment that this is one of the sweetest couple teams I have come across in such a long time. Totally agree, man. And I'll be the first to admit, I honestly did not know because I didn't listen to the Toys on Tap. I didn't know this was a team account. I thought it was just you, Dan. And dude, what a great surprise that not only do you guys, I mean, you're a couple, but you work so well together, and you can see where why it all works, dude. You know what I mean? Like she's very willing to just kind of go with the flow, like I said. And I think that works great for you, dude, especially with everything that you guys have coming up. I mean, it doesn't sound like you named just about every discipline that we ever even talk about on this show in the last hour. And it sounds like that's just like, it feels like you're just getting started. Does it feel like that to you, that you're just you're on the verge of like some really crazy big shit?
Well, that was the thing. Was like after COVID, I was like, we really need to invest in this, and I've been collecting, watching the Craftsman, so I've been collecting every little vacuum form, 3D printer, plastic injection machine, every little tool you need. I got I found a shrink wrap machine somewhere. Vacuum chambers, pressure pots. The whole shebang. We're fully committed to bringing the best that we can put out, and that's it's a lofty goal, but it's something we're definitely we're gonna do it.
Well, and part of it is that I'm a little bit of a control freak, and sometimes when Dan talks about sending something off, I get a little bit panicky of like, well, I spend a lot of time sculpting this. I spend a lot of time making sure that it looked right, and what if it's not done the way that I want it done, or in the time frame that I want it. So a lot of times I will suggest of like, well, what would it take to get there? What would it take to try to see what we could do? Because I enjoy making things. Like I enjoy process of learning and having a complete item of really anything, even if it's from, like I said before, like any sewing, crocheting, knitting, cross stitch, to even toys. Like I enjoy being able to go through the whole process and have something at the end and be like, oh, well, that was really cool to get there.
Yeah. You know, and I think as far as, you know, doing so much experimental stuff, getting into these things for the first time, I mean, what a great attitude to have, to just, you know, not get frustrated with it not working out the first time. Obviously, it's not going to work out the first time. You guys have been through that a million times before. And I haven't heard you say one time, except for at the very beginning about the shipping in Canada, where something was a challenge or an issue or a deterrent in any way. And I think as far as exploring, you know, new avenues of toy making, I mean, dude,
this challenge challenges and difficulties, but I don't consider it issues because it's always a learning thing. You know, try like I've tried every different vinyl, every different resin I can come up with, every different silicone, trying to dial in the right one. I finally found a silicone I'm really happy with. I'm happy with the strength and the durability and how it works. I like that it's clear. It's the Dragon Skin 20. It's for whatever reason, that's been what works best for me. and then also finding out about how to seal the 3D print. Also degassing it properly, and you get a 3D print and you stick it in the oven to heat it up, and it degasses a little bit. And because that's the problem, is that the UV resin is fuming, and it's stopping the cure in the silicone. And getting that figured out was a big win, and that's really been why we haven't produced as much as we've made, is because we're just dialing in how to do the silicone properly and making, like, right now we're still only doing like the split cup molds. I haven't even really got into the 2-part molds and stuff for heavier production.
Right.
And actually, the cost of the silicone and the trial and error kind of really leads me into the vinyl, because as good as the silicone is, you only get so many pulls out of it. Right. And then that's what really intrigued me about pulling vinyl, is because that metal mold, you can get way more pulls out of it.
Very true.
And it's 2 extra steps to get there. But I think it's going to pay off in the end.
Yeah, that's a great point, man, about getting basically an infinite amount of number of pulls, right? I think that's something I don't even make stuff, man, but I would think that, if you make a piece and you have a silicone mold for it, as far as how much you're going to make off that piece, I would think that would have to factor in at some point, whether you're going to have to remake that mold or how long that mold is going to last. How are those last few pulls going to look compared to the first pull? I mean, that would always, I think, would be some sort of issue there too. But I mean, it sounds like everything that you're doing is well thought out. And it just sounds like you have the right frame of mind. I don't even know what the right frame of mind is to be in when you're doing something like that. But everything that you're saying sounds right. You know what I mean? You're obviously doing it, and you've acquired a lot of the stuff to do it. So,
and it's watching this show. It's watching all the other artists. It's learning from all the other artists. Watching the YouTube videos, watching what other people are doing, seeing how they're making it work.
Yeah.
Trying it yourself, troubleshooting those to something that works for you. I know some people do magnets and they're great. It didn't work for me, so I had to redesign stuff and go in a different direction on that. But it's the joy of being able to make something that somebody else appreciates is totally worth it. It's really, it's not even always the subject and the vision of what it is. It's the getting that to completion. It's that process of, especially when it comes to like a 3D toy idea, that process of all the creative art that went in to make it happen, and then to actually get it to where you can make multiple copies so that people can get it and enjoy it, and spread that nostalgia and that creative around is really the driving force of it.
Yeah.
And wanting to do it the best that we can do it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And not only like taking an idea and making it like a tangible thing, but I mean, it sounds like you guys are even going a step further, where you're seeing something and then saying, well, wow, I wonder how they made that, then acquiring the skill first and then doing it. So it really is a full-blown like cradle to grave type thing, right? Where it's just from an idea and then just away we go. Very cool, man. We've been doing this for we're about an hour and 10 minutes, which went by extremely fast. I really feel like we could really go for hours and hours more. Let's talk about this Oni Blanca real quick before we give it away. Again, this is the 5.5. Now, this was an all original idea, sculpted, printed, painted, all by you guys, correct?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we call the Alpha Buck, is what we base that off of, and that's for like the He-Man, bulkier size figure. And then like for the Rad Punk, we call it the Beta Bulk, which is like for superheroes and slimmer figures and stuff like that. Yeah, I had that idea about doing the Oni like from the No Theater, like in Japan culture, that where they have the masks.
Right.
But then I was like, well, what if it wasn't a mask? What if it was the actual character done up? And that's where I came up with like the Red Oni idea. And then actually, I want to do a couple of these. Like there's the character, the Tengu. He's with the red face and the long nose.
Right.
And then there's a couple. There's the girl demon that's like with the white mask and the scary face. And then the Kabuki guy, was like the white. It's supposed to be like the hero or whatever with the white face and the red painted lines and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a whole series of these, because I just think they're neat.
They're very cool, man. They feel really good in hand too. Then you can tell that they're just like the quality is super, super solid, man. Really
and then
good.
when I was doing a Instagram live painting thing, when I was just messing around, and somebody said, "Oh, you should paint it green like Blanca," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll give that a try." And then that's where that came from.
Very cool. Crumbs, how many did we get on the giveaway tonight?
Let me just double check here. There was a couple last minuters. 26.
26. 1 out of 26 chance to bring this one home. Let's spin the old wheel. Crumbs, if you could pull that up real quick, we'll see who's going to get this one. I don't have anything to write with. 26 for the Blanca Oni by Acid9Toys. A couple things that we learned tonight, man. We've been saying it wrong the whole time. Number 15. Who is number 15?
It's going to be Micah J. Toliff.
Micah, that is the brilliant demon. What is up, Micah? That is very cool. Micah and Abaddon 40. They are big supporters of the show. Micah's been posting a lot of stuff recently. So awesome win, man. Micah, hit me up with your address, please. I might already have it at some point, but if I don't, please hit up the show or my personal account or Crumb's account and give us the address. I was going to say Acid9Toys. It's not Acid9Toys. It's Acid9Toys. And it is 100% a team, and we will refer to you as such going forward. My bad on that one. I think everybody was probably pleasantly surprised tonight by seeing. I mean, obviously, a lot of people didn't know that you guys were a team.
Well, it's not like I advertised it or even made a big point of it.
What's wrong with you?
How dare you?
How dare you? Well said, Crumbs. How dare you? we know the brains behind the operation based on this freaking interview, right? Holy smokes.
Yeah, well, I've had a couple live posts where she's been there busy sculpting and we talk a little bit. So it's not like I'm hiding it, but I probably should put it out there more.
I tend to be a little bit more shy in general. So that's also a little bit of my part.
To be honest, like it's so tough because I do feel you guys are a brand entity as well. And it is one of those things where, by being a team, by just referring to yourself as the Acid9Toys, it's almost like you shouldn't have to point, right? It's like, well, you are a team. So to get that aspect too.
Yeah.
No, it's quite a joy, and and I understand how lucky I am because it sounds like, oh, your wife doesn't sculpt toys for you. That sounds awful.
You are a lucky man. I'll tell you what, man. Based on from what we hear from everybody, I think one common theme for people that are doing it on their own is there's all these different aspects of making a toy that you don't really realize until you start making one. And any help that you can get, whether it's marketing, posting, painting, sculpting, whatever it is. I mean, obviously two's better than one. But two, when you work really, really well together, then you're really onto something cool, which I think is going to allow you guys to make everything that we talked about tonight. Some 10-inch vinyl, some homemade vinyl from Canada. That's going to be super, super cool to see. Anything else you guys want to get out there before we boot you on out?
Hit us up if you want a custom cool toy. I want to try that. She's got the skills. She wants to do that. She can turn, you can see all she needs is a 2D sketch, and she figures it out.
Preferably front and back.
Preferably front and back.
Yeah, 360 is ideal, so that I'm not left with my imagination to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also that's something that, man, I'm sure that you guys will start advertising about it more too, as far as making custom pieces. But I think that's something everybody in the room will probably keep in mind, and we'll start probably talking about more and more as we go forward.
It's one of the things we kind of want to practice out a little bit, because if the vinyl pops this summer the way I want it to, that's going to be a real big thing, I think, because I really want to be able to do that for people. I want to be able to, in Canada and anywhere. I mean, just knowing that it's hard for some people to get in and stuff and get their stuff pulled, and wait, and I can't imagine. I know there's a lot of people in the States doing it now. There's some more people doing it, and Mexico's opened up and doing it. But I do worry that it'll be harder to get stuff done from overseas, and anybody that can help speed stuff up is going to be good, and it'll be interesting and fun to do, I'm sure.
Absolutely, man. Just kind of crossing out that the whole tariff thing. Like we were saying, if you can get it in your home country, nothing against people that get stuff outside the country that they live in, but it just sounds like that could be more and more beneficial going forward. So thank you guys for your time. Crumbs, did you have anything else you wanted to drop in there?
No, it's been a pleasure, man. You guys are absolutely just insanely talented. I want to make sure if anybody hasn't had a chance to yet, like we were saying earlier, I'll pin it in the chat there as well. But if you didn't win tonight, you should head on over to their store and make sure to grab something up there. There are still some of the Skullmasters in there. That Paladin figure that we were talking about that's going to be part of a line potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm going to start filling up the store with some more stuff, and I am trying to be more postable.
I would even say it's such a shame we have to, but for anything that you are like molding and casting yourself too, for whatever reason, pointing that out the odd time, there's a certain customer base that I don't know why they prefer molded casted versus sometimes printed. Even the stuff you've molded and casted, pointing that out the odd time can probably make a difference for some folks. Because I know that even LM9 has mentioned he'll have people asking him like, is that printed? And it's like, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, no, I do the molding too. Like this is it's just it's a gold powder in with regular resin, and I do the vacuum make molds and pressure cast stuff too. So
exactly, I think that extra step in your process might be getting lost on some folks, man. And like you mentioned, like you've got those solid gold dudes there. That's an extra little that you're not going to obviously get if you're just.
I know a lot of my pictures of the hand painted stuff because that's my jam, right? And I forget that some people they just like the bare plastic or whatever, and blanks and or mixed colors and stuff. I should offer both when I'm offering them for sure.
If we tried meeting something for everyone, you would never stop making things. You'd be going 24/7.
I mean, and that's my thing is I want people to like it. If they want it in 2 inches, I'm going to make it in 2 inches. If they want it in 10 inches, I'll make it in 10 inches. It's like, don't be afraid to tell me, DM me, put it in the notes. What do you want? You let me know. I'll make it happen.
You guys are a force. It's been an absolute pleasure. B, anything from you? All righty.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming, dude. It's been a pleasure. Oh man, what a treat!
I was on mute right there, wasn't I?
Yeah, you probably were.
What a moron. I was going to say thank you for their time. Holy shit, dude.
Right?
Sometimes, some days more than other, I feel like a real dummy. Today is one of those days because I am just clueless. I thought that I knew a lot about that account, and it turns out I know nothing about that account.
How dare you?
Holy shit, dude. I mean, the stuff that it's one thing to talk about it, right? And talk about, oh, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. It is a whole other thing, man, to just actually go out and do it. What a great team.
We didn't even show this off. So this is going all the way back to 2017. This is when they went to PowerCon. They would have had this on their display table. It's wild to me sometimes, man, like the caliber of work that goes into something like this.
Dude, it's insane. It's crazy, dude. I mean, okay. I knew at the beginning when they showed those miniatures and then the painting, I'm like, oh shit, well, this was a blind spot for me. I didn't know that was going on. And then it was just like snowballed from there, dude. But everything that we saw tonight was amazing. The ambition is crazy.
I've got two things, man. One that I thought was crazy. If you haven't checked out the Toys on Tap interview, by all means, go do it. Because one thing that they dropped in there that I thought was fucking hilarious, and we kind of dropped it tonight too. At one point, this dude found a cotton candy machine that he grabbed. His partner ended up finding on like Facebook Marketplace. They grabbed that to get the money in order to get the device that you would need to do the pewter figures. And when they couldn't get that into the farmer's market, his buddy converted the cotton candy machine into what he would need to make those pewter figures. The only people that I see with that kind of drive are the crackheads downtown Toronto, man. When you see like those husband-wife couples pushing a cart and they're just whipping the crack pipe, they're about the only people I've ever seen with the same drive as those two.
It's crazy, man. It really is. And you know what's funny is when we first started talking, he just totally glossed over at nobody's fault or anything about the fact that they were pewter. And I'm just like, hold on. Let's back up a little. Okay. Pewter?
Okay, but what I also loved about that, they did a great job of this, both Daniel, like, it was almost kind of like last week on 90 Day, it's like, because instead of sitting here, we could have very easily accidentally done that same thing that happens to people all the time in interviews where they get asked the same 10 questions and they're sitting there being like, did you not do any research? It was kind of nice. And in that first maybe like 10, 15 minutes, it was kind of like, okay, last time that we talked to Toys on Tap, we covered all this. Now we can start with a fresh plate going forward with a bunch of new shit. It was like nicely laid.
Dude, and this is one of the rare times that I will say I love me some Us. You know what I mean? Because I'll say it, man, like fucking A, bro. That was a good interview just from the aspect of not knowing about this account and then seeing all the stuff that they're into and that they're doing and that they're planning on doing and that they're actually making. It's like, wow, that's cool. And then the next thing is, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. And then he's got the means to do it. You know what I mean? Like the ideas are there. The equipment is there. The research is there. The drive is there. Like you said, dude, it's man, what a cool freaking account. And we've been saying it wrong the whole time. Acid9Toys. No, Acid9Toys. Makes sense to me.
That's an easy one to accidentally get wrong, though. I mean, I don't think I'll ever stop saying feigned like rain.
Okay. What a cool account, man. Great people. Everybody stay tuned. It sounds like they got some really, really awesome stuff coming up. Let's look at some pieces, dude. We got about 20 minutes of pure madness heading people's way right now. You want to start?
You go, man.
Me go?
What you got over there. Yeah.
Bro. So, okay. So a few of these pieces that I got some Healy made pieces. They're all 3.75-ish. And I got some vinyl pieces.
Sir, if you start pulling out a bunch of pieces that match a bunch of commissions I was seeing Healy post, I will be karate kicking through the screen. Because there were some beauties in there.
No, but he has had some incredible ones lately. Yeah, there's a whole nother story on that. But yeah, so the 3.75. So I'm going to do these vinyl first. So I've been trying to do something a little bit different with the collection room. I've been trying to get large pieces and then kind of build around them. And so I'm working on a new resin blood display. And I needed some real bulky pieces from him. One of the pieces that I have, I just got back from me. Now he's had it for a while. He's been going back and forth on it. It's super cool. So basically, we're all familiar with Last Resort Toys, right? Last Resort Toys, their vinyl pieces are big. If you see them, the trash bag bunch, they're massive. They're big.
They're so good.
Yeah. So this one right here. So this started off as a glow blank. Okay. Now I'm positive that Last Resort, maybe he did know because I think Eddie knows him and they might have been talking about this. But I got a glow in the dark Muckoid blank from Last Resort. Bought it. They have great sales every now and then. Even the regular price, I don't think they were that much. But I sent it off to Eddie and he painted it. And look at this bad boy right here. So
I would imagine Eddie brought that into his house, and anywhere that it went, he saw it glowing. Eddie's got to have UV lights. Oh,
for sure. And I mean, the paint on it is just incredible. Now it's a glow blank. I don't have a UV light with me, but this all glows. This all glows. Teeth all glow.
That's
hands
not the
all
one you
glow.
posted this past week, is it?
This? Did I post this? I did not post this. I don't think. But I will. I have a new display, a new rotator thing that's black and actually matches the background. So from what I think, it should make the pieces look like they're kind of floating as they're spinning, as opposed to a white one with a black background, which is a whole fucking whatever. But this is sick, man. This is obviously great work by Eddie. The figure on its own from Last Resort, awesome. This is a super, super cool piece. If you have a chance to grab anything from Last Resort, do it.
Stupidly well priced for what the fuck they are, man.
Straight up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the paint on this is just, phenomenal.
Beautiful.
So this is a new centerpiece. Even this, it's hard to tell on here, but there is some metallic in this paint all around. Like you can kind of see it right there.
It's coming through, especially in those violets and blues.
Ooh.
Yo, Eddie's airbrushing has gotten tight, dude.
Bro.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool about this one, dude, is when it started off, I think he looked at it and he told me they're like, it's not quite ready yet. And then went back to it a couple times. And finally got it to the point where he was like, yeah, dude, it's ready to go. So there we go. That's the Muckoid from Last Resort, painted by Eddie Resin Blood. What you got, man? You want to throw something out there?
Sure, yeah.
Do it.
You're dropping all the legal names on these humans.
Oh, everybody knows Eddie. Everybody knows Eddie.
Eddie's one of the few I think is like synonymous with Resin Blood, to be honest. Most of the time I'm sitting there when you drop one of those legal names, I'm like, Corey Hella, and I would say Eddie Resin Blood are two that are pretty.
Eddie Resin Blood. He's in my phone as Eddie Resin Blood. The funny thing about Eddie is that, dude, I really think that at some point it's going to turn into Eddie Kess is the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Because he is involved in so many different mediums and he's doing well on some of these other mediums. And they're kind of just getting started. The vinyl, the canvas, stuff like that. That stuff is selling. You know what I mean? So I think at some point, obviously that doesn't have, resin in it, but I think the name Eddie Kess is going to be like, that's going to be a fucking thing, dude. It rolls off the tongue. Very fucking nice. And the work is legit, dude.
I don't know if it's from his tattooing for years or what, but his freehanding is stupid, man.
That too.
I was watching him do those canvas pieces, and honestly, and it's something I've always actually admired about certain artists from like day one. I remember being like a kid even and being like, I wish I could paint something like real painters, where they go to the canvas, they don't have to draw anything out, they don't have the measuring ruler out. They're not. I'm one of those weirdos, dude. That like, there's a quote from this dude that discovered. I think it's 2-point perspective, but he was like, wow, what a thing, this 2-point perspective. And there's this painting where like everything's stupid, vanishing points. There we go. And everything's going like perfectly. It's like a battle scene where everything's like stupidly, like perfectly going directly in like the vanishing points. And like, I've always admired artists that can just fucking freehand that shit. And Eddie's one of those ones that you watch him do those canvas pieces, and have like 3 of them here. And it's kind of like, boom, boom, boom. Suddenly there's 3 fucking Monster Mans on there, and you're just like,
well, and they're massive too, right? The scale of those are huge, and he's building his own frames and stretching his own
I was just
canvas.
gonna say that he's stretching his own canvases.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And that's just the canvas work, dude. And like already right there, we talked about airbrush, vinyl, resin,
Tattooing.
throw in shirt making, tattoos,
Screen
canvas
printing
work. You know, it's just, I mean, the dude's incredible. But
plus, I've heard that he fucks like a madman, like a beast. I've heard that.
Really? Is that what
through the grapevine? Through the grapevine. You go to any convention within like the second day. That's what you're hearing, man. Eddie did so many dope drugs and then banged so well.
Oh man!
That's after doing a full thing of convention selling.
Yeah, that's right.
You've seen him walking around, dude. The guy never stops. There's energy in there. I feel like the Energizer Bunny.
That's right. What you got, bud?
I'm going to pull something right off the top here. It's actually going to be something that says Merry Crumbsmas. And I believe, because I can see one of the old school YTV guys here. So you'll let me know if I'm incorrect. But I believe they've got a Baba Drock package here from you. And it looks like it might be an assortment of black and white figgies that I don't think I've ever actually seen in here.
And honestly, bro, I think that, so that one got put into a box that I was building for you, and then I ended up sending another box, and I think that happened twice. So I've had that for a while, and it's been left out of the last 2 boxes I've sent you. So,
oh goodness me. Yo, if anything, dude, and I'm learning this more and more and more. I didn't realize like what a tism thing it is to actually just like be putting things in your mouth all the time, but that was my first instinct. I immediately just wanted to start popping all those little toys in my fucking mouth, man. But you got a Too Legit, and then of course I said YTV, but I think it's MTV. I'm a freaking fool on that one. Drock Toy and Novelty.
There you go.
Boom. Fucking Baba Drock, man. And of course, you know, a bunch of mushrooms, man, which I don't know about you. I'm weird. I like tchotchke-esque kind of pieces. Things like this, man. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. One, like we do actually have, and yeah, I've got a permanent friggin' bong thumb, so deal with it. A lot of times, these are actually great shelf fillers. All these little like mushroom guys in here. And then a couple of little freaking, of course, nothing's going to show and focus. All of you at home are just kind of like, yeah, a white blob guy. This guy's a fucking rad sculpt. If anybody recognizes some of these sculpts, by all means, please chime in, because sometimes my knowledge of vintage toys is actually kind of sad. I won't deny that. We gotta get a better plan for when we're showing these, man. We've got you with your matching in with your green screen. We got me with my sweaty palms and my freaking bowl thumb.
Yeah, dude, you know what it is, man? I need to get a setup. I don't know if you remember when we very first started the show, I would switch to a different camera and it would be the piece, you know? So I'm figuring something out like that again would be cool. That's awesome right there.
I'm not gonna, okay. And I think I've even talked about this before, man. It's one of those weird things. I in no way am going to pretend that I am Zen or Buddha-esque, but I like the concept of Buddha a lot. I really like the fact this has that little like kaiju wrestling head guy on the Buddha on there, man.
Yeah.
There's just something admirable, I suppose, about the Buddha. One of you is going to drop all of a sudden like, didn't you know Buddha touched little boys? And I'll be like, fuck sakes. But to my knowledge, the Buddha was a pretty rad chat. Baba Drock, thank you, man.
Yeah.
What you got over there, B?
Dude, so let's just stick with the Resin Blood theme real quick, dude. This guy right here, check out this bad MFer right here. This cube head from Ray Gun Wizard.
Another
painted.
artist. How is that guy's account only like 300 and something?
And
ridiculous.
It's dumb. It's dumb. But this is a cube head by Ray Gun Wizard, painted by Eddie Kess. Resin Blood. The eyes on there are super sick. Paint work again, super sick. So mission accomplished. I'm getting some large pieces from Resin Blood to finish out that display, at least for what it is now. But great piece, man. The cube head. These are available on on Ray Gun Wizard's website. I believe they're pink blanks, and they're like $60, which is a great deal. I mean, they're bulky. It's a great looking figure, man. Super, super cool. There you go. Ray Gun Wizard, painted by Eddie Kess himself. Another banger. Yeah, the pink is really, really cool. Like I said, that the blanks are pink on Ray Gun Wizard's website, and it's $60. That's a fucking steal, I think.
I'm with you, man. For a piece that size, articulated, beautiful piece.
Yeah.
With the with that bit of shimmering on that pink there, does it look almost like he's just hit it with some kind of like a light, like it looks almost like a mix of clear with some kind of like a pearlescent on the pink?
You know what? On the parts that are colored on there, it looks like it. The other straight up pink parts, to me, looks like it's just the raw vinyl. I could be completely wrong there. But it's a great looking figure, man. I mean, the color and just the figure alone. For some reason, the name Cubehead, dude, just totally grew on me. The first time I heard that, I was like, eh. But now I'm like, oh, that's fucking Cubehead, dude. You know what I mean? Like, oh, and speaking of Ray Gun Wizard, this weekend, 3 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be some custom one-off painted cube heads in that store, so check those out. They've shown maybe 2 or maybe 3 of them over the last few days, and they are just filthy good, dude. Good Lord, look at those
eyes, man.
Bro, those eyes. You know what? I saw those eyes right there, and I was just like, oh, dude, don't tell me Ophelia got a hold of one of those and put some of those doll eyes in there. That's what that looks like. You know what I mean? Which I don't know if you saw also, speaking of that, Ophelia Toys got their hands on a Barfy vinyl and threw some of those doll eyes in it, and it's fucking sick, dude. It's super cool. That is sick. Damn, those are good.
Oh, and this says here, yeah. I was actually just about to say, man, like, I don't know if they got enough credit for what a game changer they've been.
Yeah.
Think of before Vinyl Wonder paints were like readily accessible, how many people were always complaining about how vinyl was near fucking impossible to paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a game changer, man. Love it. I fucking love it. All right. I'm gonna dive into this box you sent over.
Do it.
And I think it's gonna be from Babadrock as well, because this one also says Merry Crumbsmas. And
see, this one I don't know what that was. That was wrapped up, and that stayed wrapped up for I don't know how long.
Okay,
it felt like a jar.
Yeah, so it's actually gonna be one of his Dago buds. He actually dropped these on a 420, nice. Man. Which fucking hilarious, dude. I don't know if some of you realize or know, but I actually really enjoy cannabis. I was on a call with DNS before this actually, and somehow the conversation ended up going there very quickly.
Oh, but, nice, dude. I remember those.
What a dude. Think of how hefty that fucking flocking is on there.
Oh, dude.
I know you've probably never seen a nug of weed before, but that's pretty darn accurate.
What is this weed you speak of?
Yeah, so there's this plant thing. Some people. Jesus, man. And yet he didn't lose any of like those features on the belt line there on his freaking Yoda.
That's what I was gonna say. With that heavy flocking, it still kept the detail. That's pretty cool.
Just gorgeous, man. And then of course, like what's so freaking jokes to me is like, I don't know, one of the things here in Canada is a lot of the premium brands will actually sell their stuff in a glass jar. So like right down to the fucking packaging, you got the Dago Bud.
Are glass jars a big thing up there at dispensaries?
It's like it's a quote unquote premium. So
Yeah.
It's such a comical thing, man. You've got dudes from the black market days that have entered into cannabis realm. And so you'll see certain plays on things where you just kind of have to roll your eyes some days. Health Canada has essentially set the regulations on the way that things are. But like the way packaging and certain like classifications happen, like you could purchase something that literally says on there like White Widow, and you pull it out and it's some black cherry punch. And what's trippy is like some of these companies, you have people that are growing and they're selling what's called white label to other companies, where these companies are purchasing stuff from them to be able to put into their own Mylar. And so you could be sitting there knowing where like the chain is falling and who's grabbed what from who. And you could literally have something marked BCP from somebody and hold it right up to something else called like White Widow and be kind of like, these are the exact same thing. Like you were holding on to a big batch of this and you sold it as this. The classification of everything is just all weird and silly. So with the glass jars, what's comical is like we would know that typically, right, brown dark glass jars, because otherwise you put something in plastic. Unfortunately, plastic is going to basically take a bunch of those trichomes, and it's not necessarily about the biomatter that we're looking at, it's the trichomes. Anyways, I'm going to shut up about weed. We can talk about that some other time. Toys.
There you go. Eric Folkart's Pedals says, yep, hit after hit. Literally. The next one I got, man, this is a now I actually got multiple pieces from this guy, but I'm only showing one right now. And this is so man, I'll just show it, right? This is Hobo Toys General Enos piece from that last show. This is Big Daddy from BioShock. Now, BioShock is not a game I know. It's not a game I have. I couldn't tell you the first fucking thing about that game except for this guy because I have him. But I bought it because it's just super, super dope. The backpack comes off, and inside he has lights, which I will turn on. There you go. Like, now tell me that doesn't make a super cool, like, center display. It's dope, man. I mean, it's a General Enos piece. If you have a General Enos piece, they're massive. It's just a massive piece of vinyl, right?
You have an Enos army over there at this point.
Yeah, dude, I have a couple of them now. The 5.5s are the ones that I was super excited about. This one is really awesome too. The pink blank vinyl is the other one that I have. But the amount of work that he put in on this dude is just like, I mean, come on, man, it's incredible. We talked about this when it was in the show. But the amount of paint work, the sculpt work, the electronics that are in there, I mean, he totally, carved out.
As if all these homies lately are all a bunch of fucking electricians setting up lights and shit.
Yeah, right. And then this cage over the front, like I said, dude, I'm not familiar with that game. I really don't fucking care because this is dope, man. This is a super dope piece. The other piece that I'll show next week, I didn't bring it with me. What was I snagged that last hobo head that was in the shop, which was insane because that was that pink and purple one that I thought would have been the first one to go.
Pink, purple, yellow eyes?
Yes, orange.
Orange eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And that's one of those pieces too where I'm always trying to think about the fact of how grateful I am of how much we now know because how much the homies are willing to share. Think back 4 or 5 years ago looking at a piece like that and being like, oh yeah, that looks cool. Versus nowadays when we look at it and we're like, holy shit, that's how many molds? That's getting how much stuff done and perfectly sitting on a sculpt and
yeah.
Anyways, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's sitting with that's the centerpiece, obviously. Then there's the hobo heads, and then those the cowgirls and the horses that I got from way back in the day. Those were in there too. So it's a cool display, man. I need to take some pictures of that, but it's a great centerpiece, dude. I mean, in a detolf, if you're familiar with the detolf from IKEA, a lot of people use that for a display. Those cubes in there, those spaces can get very vertical. You know what I mean? And unless you have some sort of base or something to put it on or risers to put it on, it ends up looking kind of odd from a display standpoint because you have everything up about this high, then you have this much blank space at the top. So the idea there was to get larger pieces, still put them on risers, and kind of fill up that entire area, which has worked good for a couple different of those spots. So good one, man. Yeah, Hobo Toys, check that out. You talk about someone else that's doing some really crazy shit.
Underrated account as well, man.
Yeah, straight up.
Definitely. I'm gonna grab something here from the bag that's groovy with you.
Yeah.
Now, I do know what this one here is, and they're actually chilling with us.
Yeah.
So, of course. For fuck's sakes, man. Also, like, all of you are way too generous, by the way. You're very, very kind. I hope that your human counterparts in your lives understand that you do nice things and good things for people that make them happy to be here. I don't know. That's kind of the best way I can put that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, bro. I missed what you just said right there because I was reading the chat.
That's okay, man. That's all good. That's good. In response to that, the real synth punk, I don't think it's being a stupid teenager whatsoever, homie.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks have actually benefited in general, and it's a big relief for a lot of folks. It's a big relief that there's people in those individuals' lives that have actually been able to get some relief and quality of life because it's now easier and more accessible. So I don't think you're a child to celebrate that fact, man. When it went legal here, I actually cried for straight up, man, because it's one of those things for so many years you're sitting there being like, holy crap, why am I being treated like a criminal? And when it finally all of a sudden gets legalized and you realize it's going to be accessible and stuff,
yeah, no, you're right, dude. And I think, when I think we were all young, I think that was kind of the stigma, right, of that it was for stupid teenagers. But as we've gotten older and failed to, grow out of some of those habits, I guess, if you want to look at it negatively, I think that we can always, realize and appreciate that sometimes, bro, like it is beneficial as far as health goes. Other times you just need some shit to get through fucking life in general, bro. And it's, weed is I don't want to preach about it. It's just, it is what it is, man. It's illegal in the first fucking place. Like to have that be legal and alcohol to be legal is really kind of fucking dumb.
I'm sure we can all go down that one. Yo, dude, this thing is wild, homie. So this is going to be coming from Super Terrible Toys. And it's a crumb nugget. This shit always catches me off guard. The fact that you guys get little details like that kind of crap. Or like, how the fuck did you knit that little hat? Like, where did these little headphones come from? Like, what the fuck, man? That's just hilarious to me, man. Super Terrible, dude. You definitely crushed that, man. Absolutely fucking hilarious.
That's great, dude. That is great. Much love, man. Thanks. Did you say that was was that a crocheted beanie on there?
It looks like some kind of crocheted. I don't know if you ended up sacrificing one of your socks or something, or if you actually ended up crocheting that, but that's fucking hilarious.
That's great, dude. That is great. Super Terrible Toys, man.
Champ.
What I have left is the Healy made pieces.
Ooh,
I'll be honest with you, dude. I talked to him today, and I was so enamored by what we were talking about. And I told him I would do this, that I forgot about 80% of what we talked about. And I hit him up specifically because I said, hey, I selected these 4 pieces that I wanted to show. Can you tell me about them? Because I went through his thread and like literally could not find what I was looking for on there, which is rare because that account goes back pretty far. Turns out that a lot of these weren't posted on Threads or had a post about them. So we'll just there's one in particular. This one has a great story about it, dude. Check this one out. All right. So check that one out. That's a Healy made piece. That's the witch head, if you're familiar with his, on the Punisher body, on just a really kind of experimental type body. I mean, as far as the pour goes.
Do those hands and boot clip on? What the fuck?
No, those are on there. But I think they were casted separately and put on there is what they are. The story with this one is this one actually goes back. This might be the oldest Healy piece that I own currently. It goes back to 2010. This piece was from his very first Comic-Con, was in San Diego. And he had hooked up with Dove. Dove said he should make some of these and bring them to the show. Guess how many of these he sold at San Diego Comic-Con?
None.
You are 100% correct, dude.
That is a fucking gorgeous piece.
Isn't that stupid? I mean, you're talking about a Healy made from 2010. Now, I mean, obviously, in 2010, nobody probably knew who he was. But looking back at it now, you're like, wow, you didn't sell one of those things? And I just laughed about it today because, I mean, obviously, wherever he went, if he was at a show today, I honestly think that he would sell out no matter what. But it's just, as far as being a Healy made collector and having something that old from him, like I said, that's the oldest one that I have.
Thank fuck moments like that didn't stop someone like Healy from making.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I just said thank fuck moments like that didn't stop Healy from making.
Oh, dude. Like I said, man, we had a great conversation on the phone, and some of it was regarding that, dude. And I think, now that I think about what we talked about today, it's probably best just to have him on the show again and talk about it, and maybe not talk about just the toy making aspect of it, but some of the other stuff that we talked about today, as far as motivation and he did talk about the tariff thing a little bit and what he's got going in China, what he doesn't have going in China, what other people have going in China, and just kind of the toy community and especially how commercial toys is currently viewing the indie toy market, which I thought was really, really interesting, man.
I don't think we give enough credit to the homies, and I don't think the homies are aware enough how much they kind of set the tone.
100%. And we talked about some of that too, man. And if people think that like guys like Healy made and those guys aren't watching out what else is going on in the scene, they absolutely are, dude. I mean, we're having a regular conversation and he brings up Pamro Toys and I'm like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like he knows about him. He knows, we talked about Plastic Vomit. We talked about all kinds of accounts that he's, familiar with. And it's, likewise, in that same breath, it's the same thing as people at Hasbro looking at accounts that we talk about. You know what I mean? And it happens. It absolutely, he knows for a fact that it happens because he knows people who work there
100%.
And are into this scene. So it's interesting, man. The whole thing is interesting. We probably could have talked for hours. But it was an interesting conversation that I think, like I said, we should probably just have him on again and talk about it. So I'm going to show one more while you got the screen on me there, dude. This one, I don't think I asked him about this one, honestly, but I like it. You remember that from Fat Albert?
Sure as heck do. Yep.
That character right there. Yeah.
On what the hell is that body though? Is that some kind of McDonald's toy Halloween?
Yeah, I didn't ask, dude. We got to talking and I don't think we even talked about this one at all. But it's super cool. It's old. I can tell it's old, man. You can see the pore spouts on the bottom. Really cool. fan.
That's a very intriguing one.
Yeah, super cool.
I got one more, and I'm going to show it off here, and then we're going to hop into some tabs, and I'll save some of the other ones maybe for next week. But I do see something in here I got to show off, only because like we've been talking about this, I think probably since like early days of doing the show, man. This artist in general, and there's somebody that is a little bit difficult for us here in the West to be able to get a piece of. So I'm kind of surprised to see it in here.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the Death Anima Studio donuts.
Yeah.
Man. You would have seen one of these during the giveaway time as well. But like,
yes,
for fuck's sakes, man. Even the this packaging is like beyond.
Yeah.
So you got a little clip here. My goodness. If you guys haven't been to their account, the next level stuff, and I think we've actually talked about this before with some of like the vinyl companies where like we look over and it's just like, how do you have so much stuff in your work? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I wasn't expecting. So I had seen the donut, but I had not seen the full crew. He's got a bunch of like little minis that are basically based on like, there's some that are some cereal dudes. Here we go. Like the fucking little Fruit Loop guys here. And you've even got a couple, there's a prototype here of one of the marshmallows all coated up in chocolate. Gosh dang it, man. I'm gonna have to make sure I post a bunch of these cards that come with all of them as well. And this is kind of what I mean. Like for one of the homies in like the indie scene, just going all out, the Scream Donut. Like, god damn, man. Oh, I think I'm going backwards a couple of times. Apparently I can't get my shit straight. Now, B, I knew you knew that there was some of the stuff in there, but I definitely did not tell me the fucking pile of stuff in there, man. This Elder T sculpt. Damn, man. What's crazy too, and again, like between the resin work and then of course I'm intrigued by there's like a plug on the bottom of them as well. So I'm wondering if they're almost like it's almost like they're hollow casted, which would make no sense, but as you can see, like there's like a little maker's mark stamped in there. Wild. And then of course their Death Scream donut. I'm almost worried about ruining this freaking gorgeous packaging. Made in Japan, 2023. Just silly, man. B, dude, if you've got instruction on how you popped yours on, oh, there we go. I was terrified of just annihilating this thing. Did you open it?
Yes.
Damn, man.
What does yours look like?
Well, first I want to show off the. So that's the whole set.
Oh, yeah.
Visitors on the table. Those little resin dudes were. But check this freaking thing out, man. Like, what in the hell? 3-piece Safubi?
Yeah. Super sick.
Man. Now, when you asked about the color, what color was yours?
It was like a orange and it was like 3 colors. I don't have it with me, so I can't remember, but it was, I remember it was 3 different colors. I think there was a dark green piece in there like that though too.
Man, what a sick sculpt. You got anything else you want to show over there before we hop into a couple tabs and let these yahoos get home?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna save the rest for next week because I have 2 other Healy made pieces and then some more at home, and then some other cool stuff. So yeah, we will save those for next week, man.
Love it. All right. Well, because I know we're now running into 11:15 here, but I do have a couple tabs just to fly through quickly. One of the ones I wanted to point out actually ended up hopping into the chat tonight. It was one of the ones we were actually mentioning that was new to us. So of course I went creeping on over to their page and I'm grabbing it. So we have this Eric Folk Arts projects. My brain keeps on wanting to say folk arts, even though it's folk arts. But yeah, it looks like they're doing resin toys.
Yeah, that was that was a new one, correct?
It was new to me.
Yeah,
and you know, and every now and then it might be that we've actually popped over there before and we haven't actually taken it in, but this is fun, man. It's almost like a mermaid octopus, quadrupus EBE. Damn, interesting. Fuck, man. DIY blister pack and Velcro to close it so it remains undamaged and resealable when taken out display. Solid, dude. Especially for a first attempt. If we're gonna stick in those accounts also under 1,000, this one here ended up popping into our likes. Gladghoul Toys. I just popped a couple of these guys. Some fantasy wrestler. It's gonna be a kit bash casted in line with that 2-inch figure realm.
Those were great, dude. I saw those and I was like, what? I mean, not only the figure, but like the action in those too, man. I think I like that one. Ultimate
great.
Uma.
And you know, in line with the figures we saw tonight from Acid9Toys, I'd say they definitely play along right in that same play set. And if we're gonna be talking about things that are very like Glyos like, I don't know if we've shown these guys at all. Desktop Vandals.
Ooh, I don't know that one, dude.
They like almost remind. It's almost like if like some kind of ripoff of Legos met Glyos.
Yeah, yeah.
But definitely an interesting little line, man.
Yeah,
and this is gonna be another account sitting at 449. Wild to me, man. And Simpa Toy crept into the likes this week.
Man, I think I missed that one too.
Right?
Simpa Toy.
Well, let's be honest. Like Instagram doesn't always shoot us everything. Like the algorithm's not perfect. But 84 followers, and meanwhile, like looking at these freaking Playmobil-esque bootlegs, and it's like, what the fuck?
You said how many? 80? I thought you said that 84 followers.
84.
Wow.
Yeah, Simpa Toy.
That's only 11 posts. So yeah, that's actually like a brand new one almost.
Now, how do we not talk about this?
Oh, dude, this guy. I saw that today, and my first reaction was, "Please tell me that's a real thing." And then you read the description, and yeah, that's a real thing, man. You're gonna be able to get that here pretty soon.
Right, collaboration with Silver Snapper, who provided a superb artwork in the backer card. Fright flashing feature Velma is limited 3.75 figure, 100% handmade, limited run of 8 pieces. Of course,
yeah,
custom made backer, made blister. Like, for fuck's sakes, man. I bet Jevaho felt a little weird painting all those individual nipples. He had to a little bit, just. Speaking of drops and pieces available, Dark Rainbow Toys, of course, this whole week's been kind of dropping some things slowly. That whole End of Darkness sale. These guys I thought were fun, man. The Kaizo Kuben Kuricha.
Yeah.
First casted 3 years ago in a silicone mold made out of a pressure pot. These new casts did go through one, and they've got that unmistakable texture of things when things get when something goes wrong. But
yeah,
those fucking colors, man.
In my own personal posts a few weeks ago, man, I was going over like different like recognizable pores from people, and the dark rainbow, dude. Whether it's in just like the regular standard colors or the vomitardos or whatever it is, like you can obviously tell that like that's him, man.
Absolutely, just
those are chunky too, man. Those are those. That's the Super 7. Like it's a 3.5 or 3.75 scale, but they're actually a little bit bigger and they're obviously chunkier too, which is cool. And for those to be solid, I mean, fucking A.
Like for fuck's sakes, man. And then like right out of left field, doing a bunch of these like white glows. Infamous Captain Vomitardo, glow in the dark, pink, black, blue. Like that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Dope.
Fuck's sakes, man. What else I got here? Pocket Salsa ended up opening up the shop as well. They have a whole new batch of Chum figures.
Nice.
So if you haven't got your Chum figure yet, oh damn! I don't think I'd seen those marbles.
That's sick. I did not see that one.
What do you even call that for a pull? Like get them on. Like I don't know how you even request that as a pull. Do you mind just taking whatever's left in the bins of whatever we don't get a color of blank for? Do you mind just throwing them all in together?
That's the best. Look at that. That's good.
Damn, man. Yeah, I wonder if those last dudes are just random oneies. Oh. Where did you come from? Where'd you come? Wow. That's not a combo you see too often, man. That yellow perp.
Chris Bryan Customs, dude. I thought the same exact thing. Oh my God, dude. Look at that one. Chris Bryan Customs did a yellow based figure, and I thought the same thing, dude. Oh my God, that's great right there.
That's fun, yeah. Oh, where are we getting now? Little Ghoulies. So this actually ended up tossing as a follow during the show. We ended up heading on over here. Looks like they're going to be some 3D printed filament style ghosts. I like that peg design though.
Yeah, those are cool.
What we got tonight, and then this show's coming up. You got the Robot Resurrection 2. I'd imagine you were just about these guys as well.
Yes. I mean, it's consistent, right? Like if you go through that whole thread or his stuff, I mean, they're all just, dude, there's so much stuff on that page and in the shop too. Definitely check the shop. But yeah, Robot Resurrection 2 weeks. That's going to be a great one. I'm sure of it.
So Folklorian saying in vinyl record pressing, those marbles are melted down leftovers. So yeah, I wonder if they were able to just request that when they were getting their vinyl pulls.
Yeah, that's dope.
Robot Resurrection can be April 21st. And then, of course, you've got Thursday, May 22nd, the Cages into Caves GI show. Oops, all Zartans. So 2 fun shows coming up. I'm sure there's got to be more coming up. I was totally tomfooled by their April Fool's joke of the Cure show. Knowing this scene, I think the homies would have been able to come up with enough pieces regarding the show, but I don't know if we needed a Cure show.
I wasn't fooled. No. Nah, because that's how the Shrek show came about. You remember that? That started off as a
joke as well,
and then it turned into a thing. And I honestly thought, like, oh, here we go, dude. This is going to be a regular thing where they do something funny on April 1st, and then it turns into a show. And I really thought that Cure one. And who knows? Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. Maybe that is going to be a thing. But I know there was a few people that were not happy when they heard that was more of a joke than anything. So.
Right. And Super Terrible is mentioning too. Toyzday, I guess, is having a show, Muppets. Oh, right, of course. And that's why Pikmin's got the recent. Oh, for fuck's sakes! I think we were talking about that when Pikmin was on. That they're going to be having the Muppet show. Good catch, Super Terrible, man. Boom. Yeah, mine's just getting close. Month out, April 25th. Quite the roster for that one as well, man.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
I always like looking through them and just seeing a bunch of like the dudes that we actually know from our hangs.
Yeah. Good one, man. Muppet Show. I'm surprised there hasn't been a Muppet Show already, but hey,
now there will be.
Now there will be.
Right. Yo, Baba Jock.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thanks for Baba Jock and Super Terrible Toys, and of course Death Anima Studios on all the sick fucking pieces, man. Did you got a batch of these little like guys on your table as well, right?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. They're very cool, man. But you know, the cards too that came with them, you showed those are all super cool, but very detailed, man. The packaging. If you guys are not following Death Anima Studios or visitors on the table, take a look at them. They are friends of ours in Japan.
I don't understand. That part's pretty wild to me, man. I understand that for a lot of you dudes, like this stuff's pretty like you've got it figured out, but that stuff's wild to me. The whole process, man, from the cards to the toys, yeah.
Sick. No guest next week though. Next week is just going to be pure dope. Just straight up news, accounts. Tabby Doo Market is going to be fired back up. We'll take a look at some more pieces. We'll drink some more coffee.
Oh my goodness, man. You sure no guest next week?
If it's the 17th, then there's no guest. That's correct. Yeah.
But a huge thanks, actually. I don't know if we had already just said it there. I'm brain dead, apparently. But massive thanks for Acid9Toys for coming in tonight, man.
Oh, straight up. Yeah. Definitely take a look at them. That shop is up and running. Make sure that, you follow them and stay tuned to what they got coming up. I think those vinyls, dude, once they get that rolling, that's going to fucking blow everybody away. That sounds super, super cool. I can't wait to see those.
It's wild to me how far that's come in the last couple of years, man. It used to kind of be like a pipe dream for so many folks when they would talk about getting their stuff made into vinyl, and then we're just starting to see so many more of the homies be able to get that, and then now that accessibility is growing, I think that's just lovely, man. All right, let's let these yahoos get home, and we'll let you've got to be getting starving. I know it's that time of the night.
Yes, you got that right, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for everything, and have a lovely rest of the week.